Yeah, I think you're able to see my screen now. So, uh, yeah, the flow control means it will decide the whether which lines of code we need to execute. Okay, depends on the situation. If you want to, based on some condition, true or false conditions, you want to execute some line of statements. Then in that case, we will use of some if else statement. You want to execute some line of code, multiply to 10 times. Okay, then we can go for the iterative statements. Then some lines of code will be executed. From there, you need to transfer the control to some other line from 20th line to 30th line. In between, you don't want to execute. Then in that case, we can use of transfer test statements. Like that, we have multiple flow control statements are there. The first one is selective statement, selection statements. So in the selection statements, there are other things like if else condition, switch statement. Like that, we have some selection statement controls are there. Okay, that we'll discuss in examples now. Now the first one, selection statements. Selection statement means, now let's go to some example. Okay, so if I want to execute, let's say in my code, let me finish off first the if else and then we'll go for practical. So if else statement, how to write the if else statement means, this is of if else. Okay, if condition, two brackets and open. Okay, this block will say it as a if block. Okay, if this condition is not satisfied, if block condition is not satisfied, then the else block will execute. If this condition is true, then else block will not execute. Okay, the argument which we are passing to the if statement, always of type should be boolean type only. If you are passing any other type, then it will throw the compilation error. Now let's see some examples. Okay, we'll go to practical. If else. Okay, so what I'm writing, I want to execute the some lines of code based on the condition. Okay, now let's say int a equal to 100. Okay, into b equal to 200. Okay, let's assume if a greater than 200, sorry, a greater than b, or amount also fine, digits also. One second. Yeah, now and one more else. Okay, so system.out.println a is a big value. Just some message. Okay, else b is sorry, b value is big. Okay, now, so what this statement is going to, if statement I have written, right? If block I have written, this is the if block. Okay, up to this if block. So this is the else block. Okay, so out of this, if this condition is returning inside the if statement, if this condition is returning true, then only the if block, whatever the lines of code that you have written inside that, okay, will execute. Okay, inside this if block. Okay, now what is this statement is going to return? This is one statement or expression, right? So always the if block is expecting the boolean type only. So if after evaluation of this expression, what is the return type of this, what it is going to return, the result, you people need to tell, guys. It is of false. So if false is there means, then the if block will not execute. The control will goes to else block. The control will go to else block. It will not execute this part. It will come to else part. Now let's see. So b value is big. Okay. If condition we are keeping like this, then we need to change this one, right? B is big and a is small. Now, so what is this going to return? This value. So now this time it is going to return True, right? This time, this value is going to return, the expression is going to return true. Or else, let's say, directly if I'm giving A, it will give error, because the if statement, whatever that if statement, we it is going to expecting of some boolean type only always. There is no other type. It will not accept any other type. If you are trying to give also, it will give up the compilation error. Okay. Now let's see the error is so cannot convert from int to boolean. I'm expecting of the if condition is boolean, but you are passing it as a int value. Okay, so if you are giving as a some expression, okay, then after this evaluation it is going to return some true or false value. So based on the value it is going to return the expression, it can execute that. Okay, yes, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you. So now this is one type, and if the not expression, okay, now we will give off one more type, if instead of this, or else we'll give yeah, this only, control shift. If I am giving, okay, a equal to 100, okay, so what is it is going to return, guys? This one, this is one expression, right? Some expression. This is one type of expression, this is another type of expression. If a equal to 100 means, it may return true or false. If a equal to 100, it will return true. Both 100 equal to 100, true, right? If that is not, the expression is not going to return true or false, also it will give error. Okay, this is one more type. Let's say for example, I'm taking boolean type. Boolean x equal to false or true, something false or true. So if directly I'm giving b, no issue. The reason is, so not b, it is of x, sorry, x. So what is the x value internally? It is of false value, right? So even this is also fine. Even x equal to true, I'm assigning some value to x. Before it is false is there, now I'm assigning to true. This is also going to return true value. Okay, this is also a valid condition, but it will return either true or false only, compulsory. Okay, now there is another statement. Okay, if b equal to true or x equal to true, even this also, if this is false, this is true, then in that case this value will execute. Okay, let's say we'll give some simple statement. No, not instead of a and big, abc simply. Okay, now what is the value it is going to return? Which one it will print now? Yes, there can be a multiple ways we can write the condition to return the true or false based on your requirement. Okay, so that's what I'm telling. Either we can take off numbers or boolean values based on some expressions also. Okay, anything we can add in the if statement, but at the end it is going to return boolean type only. Okay, now what is the statement that will execute now? This in this case, guys, IBC, correct or not? IBC or techno? IBC? Yes, it is going to execute techno. False equal true, it is a false, right? It is not correct. It is of techno. Okay. Now there are some more things. Okay. So if the statements is they have given off brackets, right? Square brackets. So even I will remove these also. Even I will remove of these statements, but there is some condition is else spot curly braces are optional, or if block curly braces are also optional if it contains only one statement. If it contains only single line, then the brackets are optional. Okay. Now in this case also you can verify that. See, it is coming as techno only. Okay. But if you are adding one more line, if you are adding one more line, then single statement is not sufficient. Okay. If block, I am adding, right? So it is going to give error. See, now let's add it here. If it is contains multiple statements, even here also, if we are adding one more, okay, else block. So in this case also, okay, it is going to execute of, it is going to execute of only one line. Now let's say if I'm giving as false, then in this case if block will execute, but else block should not execute, right? So if I'm removing of curly braces, only the first statement it will treat as a else block, the next line it will treat as other code. It is not if else block code. Okay, now let's see what all things it is going to print. So IBC is this one, if block. Okay, if block is also, the statement is also executed. Normally these two lines are part of else block, right? So if we are not, if we are removing the brackets, okay, blocks, then only the first statement it will treat as a if block, else block statement. The next line it will treat as a other lines of code. It is not part of if else condition. Okay, that is the reason it is executed of else block. Is it clear, guys, this part? Clear, guys, or not? Okay. Now, so if you are adding curly braces, you can write off any number of lines of code. Okay. Then in this case, only IBC and if block only will execute. If you are adding curly braces, if you are removing curly braces is optional. But in that case, it will treat as only one statement as a else block statement. Rest of all is other block, other statements. Okay, normal statements. Now, next, if else block is completed. Now we are going to, switch statement. Okay, when we need to go for a switch statement. Okay, when we need to go for a switch, let me go through all the whatever that we have discussed in the if else block. So I have given syntax and some conditions, whatever that we have discussed, all some exercise also I have added all these things. Okay, everything whatever I have explained, I have given that. Now next, okay, even with braces and one more thing. So we can add multiple statements if it is a curly brace is there. Okay, now let's say, and one more thing. So before, whenever we are writing, before whenever we are writing single statement also, it is giving off no error, right? So if block is having single statement, else block also contains single statement, but that single statement should not be the declarative statement. Declarative statement. X equal to or something, some x equal to some 200, some value. Okay, but it should not be of declarative statement. Inside that single statement, whatever that is there, without curly braces, the lines of code which we are writing single line, it should not be the declarative statement. This is of declarative statement, right? Into ax equal 200 I have given, I am declaring this variable, right? But declarative statement will not accept if it is a single statement. Okay, that also you should remember. But this is of some statement, but it is not a declarative statement. Okay, it is of executable statement. Okay, now next go to go to switch statement. Okay, switch statement means If we have of multiple conditions are there. In this case, if this condition is false, then I can execute of this one. Okay. If this is also false, I want to go for some 5 to 10 conditions I want to check. Then instead of writing of if else conditions, instead of writing if else conditions multiple times, that is not a good approach. Instead of that, that will reduce the readability of the code. Okay. So instead of that, to handle that multiple condition checks, we can go for a switch case. We can go for a switch statement. What exactly switch statement it will do means, now let's go to document and verify that. So how exactly it is the syntax is, okay. If several options are available, then it is not recommended to use of nested if statements. Okay, nested if else statement it is not recommended. So if it is a 10 line 10 statements means 10 conditions means, it is going to execute of each and everything, right? It has to validate, right? So instead of that, to handle that situation, the switch statement is the best choice. Okay. Now, what is the syntax of a switch statement is? So it is of like switch of x, case 1, case 2, case 3 and default. Like this, not only 3, we can write any number of cases which you want. Okay. Whichever the case that is suitable for your requirement. Okay, only that will execute instead of validating all that. So it will check only that case. Okay, if none of the cases are matched, then default case statement will be executed. Okay, now let's go and see some example. Okay, now even so inside switch, before we are using of if condition statement, it is expecting of some boolean type, correct or not? But in case of switch case, in case of switch case, we can use of array, sorry, byte, short, char, int, enum, string, multiple types we can use. We can pass as a argument to the switch statement, not boolean. We can use of some either byte or short, char, int, like that. We can pass off any of the type. Okay, and the curly brace means open bracket and close brackets are must and should required for switch statement. Okay, must and should required for switch. Okay, but inside that, optional. Inside switch, everywhere is optional. Okay, that we'll see now. Next, both case and default are optional. Even we can give off, even let's say we'll take off one more class switch statement. Okay, statement. Okay, now switch. See, already it will show the defaultly. Okay, see, let it will generate the code. Okay, if you give off some int a equal to some 10. Okay, just assume if I'm giving a here, here is a value we need to give whatever that is there. If I want to execute of 2, then execute of some statement. Dot out dot xy, yes, action. Okay, switch and action. We need to let's case 1, case 2 or system dot out dot println. Okay, x value. Let's print off that x value. So once this is executed, the statement is executed, then the other statement it's of a, sorry, not x. Now, so what is my value here? 10. So So inside that switch, we can write off any number of statement. It is of only 2 if value of A is 2, then this block will execute. Okay. If value of any of the cases, let's say we can write off multiple. You can write multiple is of 1, 5. Okay. If any of the case is not matched, then default, the last priority will go for a default case. Okay. Now let's run it. It is printed 10. So the last one. Let's say, how can I give more better way? Let's, if I am giving 1, okay, even this case also default will execute. All this will not execute. Let's how to differentiate. Yeah, case for giving of some message. Case 2. Okay, we'll come to know which block is executing, right? So case 1, case 5. Okay, now this is of default. Default. Okay, now let's see. So here a value I have given as 1. So only this block will execute. Now let's case 1 value is also 1, right? Default. Okay. Now let's run it. It's going to execute of case 1. Okay. Now, so let's say if you are taking off, it is of byte. It is of byte a equal to some 10 value or 20, whatever that is. Okay. Now, if I am giving here as we can give off a plus 1. A plus 1. So, what is the range of byte values, guys? What is the range of byte value? Up to 127 it will accept, right? Oh, 127 it will accept. If my case I have given the value as 128. 128. See, it is giving cannot convert into to byte. It will accept of only byte values only, all the cases. Okay. So if it is there in the within the range, okay, the case label should be within that range which we are passing in the switch. Okay. Otherwise it will give off what the A type is? Byte. So all the cases must be within that range only. If that is exceeding, then the compiler cannot understood that. It will give off a compilation error. Okay. Now, if I am giving as a plus 1, by a plus 1 it is giving error. What is the value of a plus 1? What is the type it will return? A plus 1 type, guys. It is going to return off int. There is some formula is there. You remember, guys? Max of int, comma, type of a, comma, type of B. Right or not? Type of B. Out of this, which one is max one? Int, right? This is one where, yes. In this case, that is the reason. If we are giving a plus 1 as it is going to return off int value. That is the reason it is not going to throw any error. Okay? Clear, right? This one I already have explained that in case of arithmetic operations, right? Yeah. Now, next. Next one is we'll see of one more. The duplicate things also is there. It's of some duplicates. Let's say, for example, what is the a value, guys? Small a means what is small this of let's give x. Else let it be keep a only. I'll give here as I'll give here as int. Let it be 10 only. If I'm giving case 97. Let's keep it as int. Okay, or byte, what is, that's fine. 97, and if I am giving as one more, if I am giving as one more type is one more type is small a, or no, it is giving already a value variable is there, right? 98 I will keep it. Okay, here I'll give as a small b. What is the small b value, guys? We know that what it is saying, duplicate case. Internally it can understood of small b is equal to 98. It can take off here. What is the a int type? Okay, here a is int type, so all this it should be within this range. Okay, 98 and 99, if I am giving c is no issue, it won't give any error. C is of 99 value internally, integer representation, Unicode, right? Now, if I am giving as B means internally it will check off, even that also it is of duplicate label not allowed. Okay, internally this character also it will convert to some number 98. That is the reason it is saying duplicate case. Okay, this is of one more statement. Next, there is a fall through. There is a fall through inside switch. Fall through inside switch. Is this clear, guys? This one? Why it is giving error? Guys, is it clear why it is giving error means? So the case statement values should be off within this range only. Within this range only. Okay, and if it is a duplicate, let's say, leave it about that. Okay, if I am giving 98, then both are duplicate, right? This and one, this one. If value of a is becoming value of a is 98 means, then it cannot identify that which case it should execute. It is in some confusion. That is the reason it is saying duplicate case, right? So normally what is the Unicode of small a and small b? It is of, I'm telling, it will start from small a means 97, small b means 98, like that it will increase it, right? So if you are giving character also here, it can understood that value. Internally to say like it is of duplicate case. Clear or not this time? Not clear? Okay. Now next, there is one more type is one more that is fall through inside switch. Fall through inside switch means we can say of like I will take off if I want to execute, if I am removing of this break statement. If I am removing of this break statement, let's say give it as 99. Okay? Remove this brackets. Okay? Now if I am giving, if I am removing this break here, I'm removing break here. Now, what is the value? First case is 2 is there, right? First case is 2 is there. Let's leave it about this. Okay, here only. If I am giving here as 2. So, what is the value in this case, guys? Case 2. This will execute, right? Correct or not? This condition is satisfying here. Case 2, the value is 2 here, right? So if the break statement is not there, until wherever it is break is there, until that all cases will execute. Until that all cases will execute. We will call that as fall through inside switch. Okay. Now see, case 2 is executed, case 1 is executed, case 5 is executed. Case 5 contains break. So the control here it is stopping. Okay. Here if the break is there, here. Okay. Now only case 2 will execute. Okay. If I am giving here as 98, then how many statements will execute? How many cases will execute, guys? This time? How many how many case statements will execute this time? One. So this is one case. Do you have any break to stop that execution? No, right? So here, until it is finding break, case 98 doesn't contain the break statement, right? Now let's see. See, 98, case 1, case 5. both is executing. These two statements are executed, right? If the break is available for every case, then only that particular case only will execute. Only that particular case statement only will execute. If the break is not there, if the break is not there, then until break is identifying in whichever the case that is, it will execute of all the cases until that. That will call it as a fall through inside switch. Okay, let's take off some example. Okay, let's take off. We have how many months here per year? How many months? 12 months. So, how many months is there in the first quarter? First quarter contains 3 months, right? 1, 2, 3 contains first quarter. 4, 5, 6 is second quarter. Correct or not? Right? So, if I'm giving even 1, 2, 3 also, it should give a first quarter. Correct or not? Now, let me take off one example. Already I have given. Let me take off some example. All these duplicates, everything I have explained. It is a fall through. Okay. Now, I'm taking off some fall through testing. Take off one more class fall through. Okay. Fall through statement fall through. Switch. Okay. Main method written off one more class. Okay. I written off some lines of code. So what I'm doing? So let's say if I'm giving case one, so whatever that is, it is going to return off same, right? If I'm giving 1, 2, 3, it should return off quarter one. If I'm giving 4, 5, 6, it should return off quarter two, second quarter. 7, 8, 9, quarter 3. 10, 11, 12 should give off fourth quarter. Okay. So even that fall through will reduce the duplicate code. Okay. Now, so instead of writing off all these lines, even for 1 or 2 or 3, it should give off same first quarter. Okay. I don't want to write off all those things. So if I'm giving off 3, what it should expect? First quarter. Right. Now let's say execute of this first quarter. If I am giving as 1, it should give as first quarter only, right? It is giving. So otherwise, let's say normally. So normally, this is the way we need to write normal case statement, switch case, right? So even for case 1, the same output, case 2 is also same output, case 3 also same output, right? So instead of writing off like this the code, it is a duplicate code, right? So I don't want to write the duplicate code. If you want to remove that, then we can use of fall through for multiple statements, or for multiple cases. If you want to execute the same output or same type of logic, then we can use of fall through inside switch. Is it clear or not, guys? Let's say if I'm giving this, even first quarter is coming, this statement is executing. Okay, or else case 1 is of case 2, case 3, right? Now let's run it. Case 1 first quarter, if I am giving 2, then it is going to execute of case 2 first quarter. If I am giving 3, it is going to execute of case 3 first quarter, right? For all of them, the output of first quarter is common, right? The logic. So then in that case, I don't want to write off all these duplicate lines of code. I want to remove them by using, that is called, we can use a fall through inside switch. Okay. If I'm giving 1 also, case 3 first quarter. If I am giving 1 also it is going to execute of case 3 first quarter. Right or not? So in that case, we can go for a fall through inside switch case. Is it clear or not, guys? If I'm giving as 5, so which quarter is part of this case? Month 5. It is of under second quarter. Is it clear or not, guys? Want to execute of multiple case statements in a single. Okay. If the output is same for multiple 2 to 3 statement, instead of writing of multiple duplicate lines of code for all the cases, we can go for a fall through inside switch. We'll call that as a fall through inside switch, and see that what is the advantage of this one. See, within the switch, if any case is matched from that case onwards, all the statements will be executed until break. Until it is identifying of break. See, case 1 doesn't have break, case 2 don't have break, case 3 don't have break. So until that it is identifying the break, it will execute of all the statements. Okay, all the statements will be executed until break or end of switch. That is called fall through inside switch. Okay, the main advantage of fall through inside switch is we can define common action for multiple cases. Common action for multiple cases. This is the common action for all the cases, case 1, case 2, case 3. Okay, that's what the example of this one. Okay, whatever I have given by using of months. Okay, next, default case. Next is default case. So the default case in within the switch is okay, default case within the switch is it contains only one time. It should not contains of multiple times. Only one time it should execute. Only one time it should be there. Okay, let's say for example, if I'm giving 13, is it 13 is within the range of our months? Guys, 13 is within range or out of range? It is out of range, right? So then it should execute of month is not valid. From where it is executing? From the default case. Right or not? Right? So if anything is not matching out of all the cases, okay, last only it will go for a default case. Okay, the default case will be executed if and only if there is no case is matched. No case is matched, then only the default match will be executed. Okay, and we can write this code anywhere, the default. It is not like it is compulsory in the last only. It is compulsory, it is in the last only. So but I have given the default as first, right? Right or not? Let's say if I am giving 1, it should execute of this part. But even though it is first also default, it cannot execute. That the default will be only in the last part only. Okay, 11 means it is of fourth quarter, right? Now even though if I am giving first also default, it will not execute that. That will be executed only if none of the cases is not matched. Okay, that's what the switch case. Sorry, default part. Default within the switch we can take default case at most only once. Okay, and default case will be executed if and only if there is no case is matched. That also we discussed. Within the switch, we can write default case anywhere. Okay, but it is recommended to write in the last case only. Okay, but it is good way of practicing. Write this default at the end only. Okay, at the end only it is of a good way of practicing. Okay, that's what the switch. Okay, is it clear, guys, the switch case? Okay, let's take off one more example that you people should tell the output. Okay, let me. Don't want to show that you people should tell the answer. So from that, I can understand whether you people understood or not. So, what is the value of 1, guys, now? What is the value of 1? What the value of A is 1. So, if I'm executing the statements, what is the output? What is the output, guys? Right now, A value is 1. If I'm executing this code, running the program, what is the output? Which case will execute? What is the output? Only case 1, or what is the output? It will come only 1? 1 and 2 both will execute, right? Now the output is 1 and 2, right? 1 comma 2. 1, 2 is there. So if I am giving 3, what is the output? I'm giving 3, what is the output, guys? So is anywhere it is matched? No. Then which one will execute? Default. Then what is the output now? Output is DEF, and only DEF or any other things also will print? Only DEF. Why? So do we have break statement after default? Then it should continue until break is identifying or not. Break. So here default doesn't have break, right? So it is not identify the break means until wherever that break statement is identified, until that all cases will execute. Okay. If I'm giving 0, what is the output now? Only 0 or any other things will print?
Only 0. Okay. Now you got that point.
Okay. If I'm removing this break, if I'm keeping here, then what is the output? Let's say, yeah, now what is the output now? F0 and 1. Correct. So until it is identifying the break, it will execute of all the statements. F0, 1. Right? That's what this. Now switch is clear. Okay. Now we'll go for iterative statements. Okay. The next part is iterative statements. If you want to now, what is iterative statement means? Okay. If we don't know the iterative statements, it will execute of multiple times. It will execute the multiple times the same line of same number of statements. It will execute by multiple times. Then we'll call those as iterative statements. Okay. In that we have a while loop is there. We can say we have a while loop. While loop, when do we need to go for while loop means? When do we need to go for while loop means? If we don't know the how many number of times, if you don't know the how many number of times it should execute, how many number of times the loop should execute, then we should go for while loop. Okay, let's say for example, class while while test. Okay, now okay, so what is the syntax of while loop means? It is of while, okay, and inside that should be boolean type only. Whatever that if statement is taking, right, it should be of boolean type, either true or false, and we can write off number of statements which are we want. Okay, how many number of statements we want? If you want to execute, if it is a true means it will execute of infinite number of times. We can't say, we can't stop also. Okay, it's of while loop. Let's see how many number of times it is executing. Okay, now mm, int I equal to 1 I am giving. Okay, so once it is executed while loop, okay, while loop, count, execution count. Okay, execution count. I'm giving I plus plus. Okay, first give is 0. First give 0. If once it is executed, then it will increase the count. Now let's see. So how many number of times it is going to execute, we'll see. Okay. How many number of times it is executing, guys? Is it stopping? It is not stopping. There is no break to stop the while loop. Okay. So until it is true here, while loop, always it will execute. Okay. It is of infinite loop. Okay. Now stop it. Let's say for example, if I'm giving as I greater than 10. Okay, I greater than 10. What is the first one? It is going to return false, right? False, or let's keep this one. So I'm telling first is I 0, 0 less than 10, true. It is execute. So I'm changing the count is plus plus I plus plus. Okay, until it is not satisfying, it will execute. How many number of times it is executed this time? 9 times. First time at 0 less than 10, it is giving true. Okay, or 10 greater than I also, anything, guys. Okay, 10 greater than I, the condition is true, right? 10 greater than 0, it is executing, and I plus plus I'm doing it is, the value is increasing to 1, then 10 greater than 1, it is increasing, it is condition is true. So until that, until 9 it will execute. After 9, 9 plus plus, it is going to become 10. 10 greater than 10, it is false. Then until 9 only it will execute. Okay, if you don't know how many number of times it is going to execute, then we can, in that case, we can go for a while loop. Okay, next. Okay, now I have given some conditions, I have given some practice also, guys, here. And one more thing, yeah, that's one thing. And this curly brace is optional. If it contains of a single line, it is of optional. Okay, it is of optional. So, and that too, the statement should not be declarative statement. If it is a declarative statement, if it is a declarative statement, into a equal to or some 10 or something, whatever it is. So for the declarative statement, it will give error. Okay, it should not be the declarative statement if you are not using curly braces. If you are using curly braces, then no issue. Okay, it will not give any error. Okay, if it is a no curly braces is optional. So in that case, the statement should not be contain declarative statement. That single statement, whatever we are writing. Okay, that's what I have given all the examples. See, while of true, even this is also a valid statement. Okay, even this is also a valid statement. Okay, like that I have given of multiple example exercises also. You can practice it. Okay, if any doubt is there, we can discuss it tomorrow. Okay, and let's say for example, if I am giving false here, while of false, and then inside that system.out.println equal to while loop. Okay, so it is giving of some error. So what is the error, guys? It is giving some error. I have given correct statement only, right? If it is a true, it is not giving any error. If it is false, it is giving error. The reason is, at any point of time, this statement will not execute. Okay? At any point of time, the statement will not execute. Then in this case, it is saying unreachable code. Okay, unreachable code. This code never be executed. Whatever the lines of code, this never be executed. The condition will never satisfied. So that is the reason the compiler will understood whether this the lines of statement can be executed by JVM or not at any point of time. If that is not going to execute, then it will say like it is of unreachable code. Okay, if it is false means always it will be come out of that loop, right? But when it will execute, there is no chance of executing this line of code. Okay, that is the reason it is saying clearly saying the error is unreachable code. See, unreachable code. Okay, that is also one scenario. Next, let's say if I am giving here as true, if I am giving here as true, it is executing. Okay, but if I am writing out of this block, if I am writing out of this block, if any lines of code, system.out.println, okay, outside while. So this is going to give error because always this only will execute. This line of code will never execute because it is we have given as true, or at some point of time even this code also should execute. If the compiler is identified this code will never execute, then it will say unreachable code. Let's say 10 greater than I. Okay, 10 greater than I. So but always this only will execute, but it cannot say like it cannot identify this time it is returning true, it may return a false in the next time. Okay, that we can't say, right? So that is the reason this time it is giving not error, it is not giving any error, right? Now let's say plus I plus plus, so it will execute of 9 time. After that the statement will execute, right or not? Let's run it. See, 9 times the while loop is executed. After while loop it is going to return 10th time it is going to return false, then come out of that while loop and this statement will execute. Okay, this is of while loop, guys. Okay, next, so we can't say like at least this while loop can execute at least once. If the condition is satisfying then only it will execute. Okay, but your code want to execute, you want to execute some condition at least once. If some lines of code want to execute at least once, at least once, if you want to execute the loop body, then we should go for a do while. Okay, then we should go for a do while. Now we'll take off what is the syntax of do while. This is of while, this is of while loop. Do while is it is of contains now comment it do. Okay, and or else we can write do open bracket close bracket and while, and sorry, while here true or false condition, we can give the semicolon. Okay, and here this statement should be of should be always boolean only. Okay, always it should be boolean. First this code will execute, then it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will go again for the do block, it will execute. If the condition is false, then it will come out of that. If again it is true, then again the do block will execute. Okay, now let's go and see the document. We'll read it once and then we'll go for that. Yeah, if we want to execute, if we want to execute the loop body means, guys, it is of inside the curly braces, whatever the code that is there we'll call it as a loop body. Okay, if you want to execute of loop body at least once, at least once, then we should go for do while. Okay, but in case of while loop, if the condition is satisfying, then only the loop body is executing. Okay, if the condition is not satisfying, it will never execute that. Okay, but your requirement is at least once your loop body should execute, then in this case we should go for a do while. Okay, now See, do open bracket and body, you can write the lines of code whichever you want. Okay, now while loop, while of b, this b should be boolean type only. If the b is true, then again it will execute of do body. Again it will check the condition. If the condition is satisfying, again it will go for the do. If the condition is fail, then it will come out of the do while. Okay, now within the do while, the curly braces are also optional. Okay, without curly braces, we can take only one statement. Okay, we can take only one statement between do and while, which should not be the declarative statement. I told you the declarative statement, we should not keep it. Okay, now let's go and see the practical things. Okay, now let's. Okay, now I'm writing of do, okay, lines of code, and then while of let's int a equal to 10, int a equal to 10, and while of I or 10 greater than I, or I greater than 10. .20 or else keep 1. Keep 1 or a. Here is a, not I. Now use semicolon. Now, so so before going to executing of this condition check, so at least once this code will execute. At least once this code will execute, and then it is going to check off condition, right or not? This time it is printing of a value is 1. Okay, but later second time onwards, this condition is returning false. First time it is executed do, and then 1 greater than 10, it is false. It will not go inside this do again. Let's say for example, if I am giving as a plus plus, okay, a plus plus, and it should return true. Okay, 10 greater than a. Okay, the first time it is going to execute, it is going to print a value is 1, and I am increasing a value is a plus plus. Then 2 it will become 10 greater than 2. It is returning true. Then again it will execute this body. Again it is executing of, it is becoming 3. Like that it will execute of. Let's after that also system dot out dot println out of do while. Okay. Now let's see j value is. Okay. Now let's run it. So it is executing of until 9 times. The first time, let's go and see. So a is 1. The statement is executed. A value is 1. Now a plus plus, it is becoming 2 after this line. So 10 greater than 2. It is returning true. So that means it will execute of again the do loop. Okay, do loop, do body, it will execute again. So like that, next time it is going to execute of 2, and again it is increasing until that 9 times it will execute the do body. Okay, after 10th, after 9, 9 plus plus, it is becoming 10. 10 greater than 10, it is returning false. Then the last statement out of while loop will execute. Okay, from this you should understood, if you want to execute our loop body at least once, then we should go for a do while loop. Okay, that's what the meaning. And the scenarios is this curly braces is optional. Okay, curly brace is optional, but it should contains of only one statement. It should contain of only one statement between them. Okay, if it is more than one statement, we should not keep, we can't. Okay, these are single loop. Do and while both are single. Okay, so if you want to add single line, then it will treat as a single statement with no issue. Okay, if you're adding multiple statements compulsory, the brackets are curly braces are compulsory, and the statement should be compulsory, not a declarative statement, not a declarative statement. A equal to 20, not be of any declarative statement again. Okay, but apart from that we can give of any other things. A plus plus, a plus plus. It's not declarative statement, it is increasing the value. Okay, already it is defined, just I mean increasing the value. Okay, then it is a valid one. Now if you are adding int x equal to 10, it is giving error. If it is a single statement means, if you are adding curly braces means we can add that declarative statements also, no issue. Okay, that is valid. Next, this is of do while. Okay, this is of valid scenarios I have given, invalid scenarios I have given, all these things you can go through that. See, given of just now we have tested a plus plus like that. Okay, now do while is done. Next we'll go for a for loop. Next we'll go for a for loop. Is it enough today, guys, so you want me to continue? Guys, you want to continue? Shall I continue? Yeah. Okay. Then I'll continue of even for loop also. Okay. It is better. Now, next one is for loop. Next one is for loop. What is for loop means? So, if you want to execute some lines of code until this number of times, until this particular number of iterations, then we can go for for loop. Okay, and the for loop is mostly will use most of the times. Okay, in our code daily in day to day life, we'll use of for loop most of the times. Okay, and that too we should go for the for loop if we know the number of iterations, if we know the number of iteration in advance before going to use that for loop. If I want to execute of my lines of code should be 10 times, then in that case we can go for loop. Let's take off one example. For loop. Now, what I want to do, I want to execute of my loop is 10 times. Fixed one I am telling enter a of in system.out.println. I'm telling I value is, so I'm telling I, yeah, no. So I'm telling I iterate 10 times. I'm telling I know before that I want to execute my this statement 10 times. Then I can go for a for loop. So inside this for loop, we have three parts is there. We have three parts. Now let's see. Come down. So in the syntax for this for loop is for of, okay, for, we have three parts. Each semicolon is one part. The semicolon is one part. After semicolon last is one part. It is dividing into three parts. The first part will call it as a initialization. First part is will call it as a initialization part. The second part will call it as a condition check part. If the condition is true, then the loop body for loop body will execute. If the condition is satisfying, not satisfying, it will come out of the for loop. After the third part is either increment or decrement. Either increment or decrement section we can write in the. So what I'm giving initially start with the value is I is 0. Okay, now I less than 10, I want to execute of 10 times. 0 less than 10, it is a condition satisfying. Then execute this line of code. After executing this line of code, go for increment the value I plus plus. After executing this line of statement, it will go to the third part, that is called increment or decrement section. Okay, it is I plus plus. So already I is 0. Then in this case it will become I equal to 1. Again it will go, it will check the condition, not this part. Already initialization is done. Okay, second time again it will check the condition 1 less than 10. Okay, condition is satisfying. It will execute this code. Again it is going to go for the third section. So 1 plus plus, it will become 2. Okay, again it will check the condition 2 less than 10. Like that until this condition is not satisfying. It will execute that many number of times the statement. Okay, the for loop contains three sections: initialization section, okay, condition check, and increment or decrement section. Condition check, first one is initialization section, semicolon, condition check, semicolon, and increment or decrement section. Okay, after whatever that within the brackets, we can say it is a loop body, for loop body. Okay, even in this case also curly braces are optional. Even in this case curly braces are optional, because we are writing single line. Anywhere guys, single line is if the curly brace is not there means we should write only one statement. That too it should not be declarative statement. Okay, even in case of if block, if or while or do while or in for loop also, it should not be the declarative statement. Okay, now execute this time for loop, it is going to execute of 9 times from 0 it is started. Okay, if you are starting from 1 up to 9 times only it will execute, 1 to 9. Okay, now if the statement the curly brace is optional, now even this case also it is fine, no issue, but should not be declarative statement. Okay, and one more valid scenario, one more valid scenario for loop is we can write off for, okay, now of 10 I am giving. So I don't want to write this anything, just simply I am giving semicolon. Even this is also a valid, even this is also a valid statement for loop statement. Even if you are giving semicolon semicolon at the end also semicolon, even this is also a valid semicolon, valid for loop statement. It is of initialization block is empty, condition check is also empty. Condition check is empty means it will treat as a by default true. By default it will treat as true. Let's say for example int a equal to 1. Okay, a equal to 1, and system.out.println of a plus plus. See, it is going to execute how many number of times? It will never end. So that means that the condition is checking in between. If you are giving empty means it is treating as a true by default. This condition is, or if you are adding the condition means until it is false it will execute. Okay, if you are not giving anything means by default it will treat as a true value. That is the reason the loop is not ending. Okay, next. And one more thing, next part is the initialization block. The initialization block will execute, initialization block will execute only once. Initialization block will execute only one time, the first time only. Okay, and from the next time onwards it is going to execute only directly condition check. It will never go for it will never will never go for again initialization block. Only first time it will execute this initialization block. Okay, and one more thing, not only one, we can keep of any number of variables. Okay, but all should be of same type. Here in this case I have given only int I equal to 1, right? Now if I want to take off j equal to also 0. Okay, now if I want to execute of then it should give us two statements I am writing inside the for loop, right? We need to write this and then j value. J value. Now j is also j. Okay. Now until this is passing, until this is passing. Now it is going to execute that. Now let's come on j plus plus. Even that also I want to increase. So from this you should understood j value is printing and I value is printing. I value is 1, j value is 0 because j is starting from 0. Okay, but we should not declare again int type here. Already it is declared int type is here. Okay, it will not allow again declaration, and all should be of, we can give of multiple, even k equal to 0. We can give any number of variables, but all should be of same type. All should be of same type. Okay, that's what this point. Next, of same type, and if you are giving of different type, then it will give off error. Okay, next one. And one more thing is, next part is, so I am telling this is the initialization section. Okay, now let's say for example int I equal to 0 I kept here, 0 I kept in the first, sorry, k equal to 0 I kept. So I don't want to use of, I don't want to write do initialization. I can write off any valid Java statement here. I can write off any valid Java statement here. Now it is of k. K plus plus. Okay. Now from this you should understood if the high is printing only once means then from this you should understood yes, the initialization block is executing only one time. Initialization block is executing only once. First, it is going to print high. From the next time onwards, it is going to print only I value. Only I value. Now, even I don't want to write here also. In the increment or decrement section also, I want to write one more. Even in, not only we can do increment or any valid Java statement we can write, even in increment or decrement section also. IHELLO. See, if it is print, if it is executing 9 times or 10 times, that many number of times it is executing the meaning, right? Now let's keep that increase. We'll do here only. Okay. Now see. First time high is printed. Next I value is printed. After that it is incrementing. After incrementing, it is going to execute of this increment or decrement section. In the increment or decrement section, I have written of some valid statement which is, it is of some system.out.println, right? So that many times again it will check this condition 2.1 less than 10, it will execute of this part, again the value is incrementing, again the statement will execute. Okay, like that. So that means the initialization, from this you should understood the initialization section will execute of only one time. Okay, next time onwards only condition check and increment and decrement section will execute that until it is condition is failing. Okay, that's what the meaning of the one more scenario. Next, okay, next go to this one. I have explained initialization. This I have explained. Only it will execute of only one times, and we can declare and initialize the loop variables for the loop. Okay, and any number of variables we can declare it, that also I have explained, but all must be of same type, all must be of same type. Okay, next, this is the of example valid one, this is of valid, this is invalid, and this is also invalid because we have given into two times. Okay, it will not accept that. Okay. In the initialization section, we can take any valid Java statement, including system.out.println also. That's what I have explained here. Okay. Next part. This is of that example. See, in the initialization section, I have added system.out.println. Okay. We can take off multiple variables. We can take off multiple variables. Okay. Next, second part is condition check. Next part is condition check. In between, okay, first is initialization, second is condition check, third one is increment or decrement section. If I am left this one as empty, then it will execute of infinite number of times. There is no never ending. Always it is the meaning of that is true. It will never stop it. Okay, that bit be careful whenever you are doing. This part is condition check part is also optional, and if you are not keep taking anything, then compiler will always place the value in between here as in the condition check is true. That is the reason it is executing infinite number of times. Okay, that is what the meaning of that condition check. Next one, increment or decrement section. Even in the increment or decrement section, we can take off any valid Java statement, even with system.out.println also. If you want to increment or decrement in the loop body, we can do that. And in the increment or decrement section of for loop part, we can add off any valid Java statement. That's what we have done here. Okay. Next. All three parts of for loop is also optional. All three parts are independent of each other and optional. I told you even that also. See, let's take it. I given even this also for you guys. A equal 10. So initialization already I have given a is 0. This always will be true. And this increment and decrement I am doing in the loop body itself. Okay. Now main thing is condition check. Always the compiler will keep true here. Okay, then always the loop body will execute. Now let's see this also again. See, always it is increasing that value. It will never end that. Okay. Next, it is of infinite number of times it will execute that. Different cases related to for loop. Different cases related to for loop. I have given some exercise for you guys. Yes, you do that. If any error, if any doubts is there, we'll discuss tomorrow. I have given some exercises for you guys. Okay. On the 4 to 5. Yeah. This is for exercise for you guys. Okay. You practice and then come if any doubt is there. Okay. If no doubt means, then that means that you are not practiced. Okay. Next part. Next is for each loop. Next is for each loop. So until 1.4 version of Java, okay, until 1.4 version of Java, only for loop was there. There is no for each loop is not there. For each loop was not there. Okay, in 1.5 version, the Sun Micro system, Sun Micro people introduced enhanced for loop or for each loop. What is the advantage of? What is the advantage of for each loop? What is the advantage of for each loop is now let's see some examples. Okay, let's say mm, for each loop. Okay. So now, so I'm creating of one array. Int x equal to x array. X array equal to of 10 comma 20 comma some values I am taking. Okay, 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50 some values I am taking. So I want to iterate this array. I want to iterate this array and display the values of all this array. Okay, in case of for loop, we can do of both the direction, either in the from top to bottom, from left to right we can iterate the data, from our right to left also we can iterate the data if we are using for loop. If we are using for each loop, only forward direction only. And how to write that means, normally in case of this is the way that we are doing system.out.println x of I. Okay, it will iterate the data. 10 20 30 40 is coming. If you are using for loop, okay, if I'm using as first to last, it is iterating, right? If you want to go for a left to right also, even if you want to go for left to right also, it will then I 0, we can iterate of that. Yeah, here let me, yeah, I greater than 0, yeah, greater than 0. Until that I want to, so first what assigned, I equal to x less than length. I am assigning the length of that array to the I value. Okay, until it is here minus minus. Okay, now this time it is going to return from 50 to 10, 50 to 10, length minus 1, it is going to length minus 1 4, return less than or equal to 0. The first one is not done. See, it is from reverse way. Okay, if you want in the other way, forward direction as well as in the reverse direction, both way we can. System.out.println x of I. In this case, it will be in the first. Okay, divide it. Okay, first one. See, first one is, it is in the forward direction, in the original direction, whatever the data that we have. Okay, if you want to reverse that by using for loop, we can do that. Okay, but by using for loop, for each loop, we can't do that. By using for loop, for each loop, we can't achieve that. Now let's say for, see, for each, there is for each. See, it is taking of array. What is the type of data it is available in the integer array? It is of int type. It is of int type data is available. We will take off that data type as a variable colon array type, array object. Okay, system.out.println of I. System.out.println of I. In this case, only forward direction only, and we can't do in the reverse direction if you are using for loop, for each loop. Okay, that's what this one. And the next one, this is of see, I given forward direction in the for loop. By using for each loop, this is the way we can iterate the data. Okay, next one more example, to print the elements of two-dimensional array. Two-dimensional array, if you want to print, we can do of for each loop like this. Okay, normal for loop. It is of normal for loop. Two-dimension array. Two-dimension list. See, this is of two-dimensional array data. Okay, this is one array and this is of another dimension array. Now, for iterating of this data, I need to take off one for loop. For iterating of this data, I need to take off one more for loop. Okay. See, int I equal 0, I less than x dot length. Okay. Now, next one more to iterate of this also I am taking one more inner for loop. For loop inside, for loop will call it as a inner for loop. Then to get this value, x of 0 comma 0, 0th position. Okay, like that it will increase. See, it is going to iterate of all the data of two-dimensional array. Okay, next, by using for each loop. This is of by using for each loop to iterate the data. Next, this is of normal for loop using for each. So first I am taking one array. Okay, first one it is of two-dimensional array. From this array object I am taking of one-dimensional array. First one. Okay, from this I am taking the element by element again in the inner for each. Inner for each I am taking from the single dimension array. The first one I am taking one dimensional array from the two dimensional array. From two dimensional array object I am taking one dimensional array. Again I am iterating that one dimensional array too by using for each loop. I am keeping that one dimensional array. From that all of type of int type I am converting into single int value, and then I am printing that. Even this also will give same output. So in that case, both the way out of these two, this is the simple way we can do. So instead of condition check, all those things, this is a simple way to iterate the data in the original direction. Okay. Next. So for each, it is best choice to retrieve the elements of for each loop. For each loop, it is the best choice for retrieving the elements of arrays and collection. Till now, you people only know arrays. Collections is the later. Later we can discuss it. Okay. Color for arrays and collection to iterate the data we can use of for each loop. But the limitation is it is applicable only for arrays and collection, not for general purpose loop. Not for general purpose. Let's say this is one condition. I want to execute this statement 10 times. I want to execute this statement of 10 times. Then I can't achieve it by using for each loop this one. Okay, that is a limitation. Okay, and we can't write equivalent for loop for that directly. We can't write it. Okay, by using normal for loop, we can print the array elements either in the original order or in the reverse order. But by using for each loop, we can print the array elements only in the original order, but not in the reverse order. That's what I told you. Whenever we are iterating the data by using of for each loop, only in the forward direction only we can iterate the data, but in the reverse order is not possible. Okay. Next. Next part. Yeah, I think up to this is iterative statements. Tomorrow I'll explain transfer statements, and then we'll go for some other topic. Is it okay, guys? I'll share this document. Okay, please go through that and then practice whatever the exercise that we have. And if any doubt is there, we'll discuss it tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, guys. Maybe tomorrow I'll go for offline class to the office. So maybe we can do this tomorrow. Thank you.